Hey, my name is Shelly, and welcome to my somewhat late January TBR. So it's like 6 days into the year. I've already started a book, and I'm almost finished that book. And that book is Foxglove by Adeline Grace. This is the sequel to Belladonna. This book is just, it's so good. I'm almost done the second book, and I'm still struggling with the fact that this is a YA series, because it does not seem like a YA series. I've read adult series that are much more immature than this book series is, so I'm still so confused. Why is YA? I don't get it. It's very adult themed. The characters are not very young. In the beginning, the main character, Signa, is 19, so she technically is a teenager, but by the time the second book comes around, she's already 20. So I mean, like, they're not even young teenagers. The topics are very heavy. The writing is very lyrical. It's dark, like really, really dark, like to the point where like horror dark. So I'm still so confused why this is a YA series. But regardless, it doesn't matter. It is a great series. I'm fully loving it. I would say I'm not quite done, but I think the second book is probably going to be about 4.5, not quite 5. I like to compare this series to like Bridgerton with like the high society, but with a heavy gothic horror feel to it, with like really, really weird, creepy stuff happening. It's great. And the writing is just so beautiful and lyrical. The characters are very endearing. I highly recommend this series. The next book I'm going to read, and I'm going to start later on today, is The Way of Shadows by Brent Weeks. This is the first book in the Night Angel series, and I don't really know much about the series, but we are doing a readathon on my Discord channel. I'll link that down below. And so, yeah, so I've heard a lot of like mixed things about this. Like I've heard it's like dark, I heard it's like found family. I'm not sure what to expect. I don't even know what kind of world this is in. Is this in a fantasy world? I don't know, but it's a fantasy series. And it is currently a 4-book series. So we're going to be reading 1 book a month for the next 4 months, hopefully, because every time we do a readathon on my channel, it never works out. So hopefully this one will stick. So I'm going to be reading that book probably later today and probably for the rest of the week. And the other book that I'm going to be physically reading, which I just started yesterday, is The Throne of the Broken Gods by Amber Nicole. This is the sequel to the book of Azrael, which I just finished and absolutely loved. This is on KU. It's a romantasy series, a dark romantasy series. So this is kind of like an urban fantasy, but it's not. It's an epic fantasy, but it's not. It's just like a perfect blend of everything. And it starts off as like enemies to lovers, but quickly changes. And I mean quickly, like within like maybe like by the middle part of the book, it turns into reluctant friends. And then, you know, going forward. So this series is about Diana. And she basically made a deal with like a devil or like a demon-like being, and now has these like demon powers. And she did this all to save her sister's life. So she is now basically working for like the devil and she's like the bad guy. She does bad guy things. And she comes across this god, this like the king of gods, I guess. And they kind of reluctantly work together to find this book of Azrael, which has a secret to basically, I think, take over the world. So they're basically on a clock trying to find this mythical book together, and they are reluctant allies. Like I said in the beginning, this very much starts like enemies. Like they are purest of enemies. And the way that their relationship develops is just so good. Like they actually start to become friends. It wasn't like, it doesn't start off like, oh, I hate them, but they're so hot. It's like, I hate them. Oh, I kind of like them as a person. Oh, now I really like them. The thing I love most about this book is she is the morally great character. She is the bad one who does bad things, and he is like, you know, the voice of reason. And I love it. And there's a lot of mental health rep as well. There are a few trigger warnings like post-traumatic stress and abuse. I believe the author has all of the trigger warnings on her website, so if you're curious, please go check them out there. But yeah, like I said, I'm loving this book. And if this second book keeps going up from the first book, this may be one of my favorite series. Maybe. And after I'm done the audiobook of The Way of Shadows, I'm going to be picking up Every Which Way But Dead by Kim Harrison. This is the 3rd book in the Hollows series. I'm going to be buddy reading this with a friend on my Discord. We are really excited to get back into this urban fantasy world. I think it's probably one of the best urban fantasy series I've read in a really long time. So we are really excited to jump back into the Hollows and get back to that. So I can't say much about that, but that is another book I'm going to be reading. Another book that I'm going to be reading and continuing is Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 5th book in the Stormlight series. I read probably about 75% of this book in December, and I had to put it down. I was coming towards a reading slump, and it was just the best for both of us to take a break. So I took a break, and I plan to continue on with the last little bit in the rest of January. So I hope to finish that out by the end of January. Another book that I'm definitely going to get to is Onx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This is the 3rd book in the... What is the series actually called? It's not called the Fourth Wing series. What's the series called? I'll put it down here. So I read Iron Flame in December, and I was kind of let down by it, but I think a lot of people were as well. So I know that Rebecca Yarros has taken a lot of extra time to complete this 3rd book, which I totally appreciate. Take all the time you need, because it's, you know, the more time you take to fine craft a book, the better it is for the reader and for you, to be honest. So I am really excited to get to Onx Storm. I have high hopes for this book. Not too high, but, you know, I think reasonable hopes for it. I believe we're doing a Loose Buddy read on my Discord channel. It wasn't really like set in stone, but I think a bunch of us are going to be reading it. So I'm put like a channel down just in case we all want to comment or gush or rant or whatever. So it's going to be a lot of fun reading that with all my friends on Discord. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Like I said, not too high, but I think a little higher than Iron Flame. Especially after the way Iron Flame ended, I need answers and I need them now. So that's going to be happening at the end of the month. I can't remember. I think it's January 25th. I don't know. I'll pull it down here. So it's going to be towards the end of the month. Another book that I really, really do hope to get to is Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie. I've actually halfway through this book and I've put it down for various reasons, not because I didn't like it. I'll get to that eventually, but I put it down. So I do plan to finish the rest of the book this month. So I'm listening to the audiobook. It's so great. I'm loving every single second of it. I am quickly becoming a Joe Abercrombie fan. So yes, I'm definitely going to finish that book out this month. And then the last book I want to talk about is probably a maybe, and that depends on timing and also the friend that I'm buddy reading the series with, and that is the 8th book in the Kate Daniels series, Magic Shifts. We are slowly making our way through the series. We are loving it. We're having a great time. It's a lot of fun. I know I said this about Hollows, but I do recommend this series. Even if you don't like urban fantasies, I think that it's something that you should check out because they are such quick books. They're a lot of fun. And it's a nice palate cleanser in between those like heavy epic fantasies that we all like to read. So yes, that is a maybe if I get to everything else. So those are the books that I plan to get in January. I am really excited to get to a lot of these. Like some of them are like my most anticipated reads of the year. So like the fact that it's like the first month of the year and I'm getting some really bangers in makes me very excited. If you've made it to the end of the video and you don't have anything to say but you want to leave a comment, you can leave what happens in January? I guess a snowflake emoji because it's still winter. I don't know, there's not much happening in January. Anyways, you can leave a snowflake emoji. As always, you can find my socials down below, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye!